Good morning, everybody. This is Jean here, Jean Truelove from Truelove Quilts for You. I am in my sewing room today, and I'm sort of dissecting the quilt that I have been working on that I had finished. My Almond Country Beauty quilt, a New York Beauty quilt pattern that I had made. Now, as you know, hopefully you will be able to see, it almost looks exactly like that picture. Look at that. I did the cream and the cream background with the colorful fabrics. I did not, as you can see here, I did not do the spiky border. I did my own border. I've gotten so many lovely comments about my prairie point borders. As you know, my last video, my quilt was a bit wavy. I've gotten tips how to block my quilt, which may be in the cards. Somebody did say, why don't I take the whole border off for the one side and add another prairie point, which I'm not going to do. This is done. I might actually try spraying the one side that is very wavy and throwing it in the dryer, whatever, but the general consensus was pretty much put a hanging sleeve on it and try to enter it into a quilt show, even though it's very imperfect because it does not hang straight whatsoever.
I'm going to Uncle Will's.
Okay, thank you. There's Maxwell. Sorry about that. Interruptions. Maxwell is doing much better. Thank you so much. And as you know, this quilt, it was interesting, was made when Maxwell, our son, who had an operation 2 months ago, was not very well at all. And as I was saying in my last video, this quilt just sort of flowed out my fingers, and it progressed as Maxwell got better. I thought that was so interesting. So yes, it is a family special quilt in my life. But I still might put it into a quilt show, wavy or not. That's neither here nor there. However, I do believe I'm going to make this quilt again, not with the prairie points, not with a pattern border. I'm going to concentrate on the inside, and then maybe, because I love doing a checkerboard border. But I think I might going to change it up, and I'm going to use darker colors. In fact, I have so many shades of gray, and I thought if I did the bright spikes and then different shades, not the same like the cream background is on this one, all different shades. There's there's 16 blocks in this quilt. There's 16 blocks in the body of the quilt. 12-inch blocks, finished 12-inch blocks. So I thought if I made where it's the cream, different shades of gray, and then the colorful spikes, and then a checkerboard border, I might do that. I really did enjoy making this quilt, even though it was at a dreadful time. And I don't usually, as you know, I don't usually use patterns, but I found it almost easy. It's foundation paper piece, which is an advanced skill for any quilter. But I really did enjoy making this, so I think I'm going to make it again and see if it lays flat. Everybody really does like this quilt in the family. So that's to come. Now I can't go step by step when I'm using a pattern because of trademark, which is copyright issues and everything, which is understandable. But there are some steps that I can show you, which obviously just look over my shoulder. One of the steps that I had done here, which obviously was not in the pattern, was, and I was saying in my previous video, I put in a piping between the two borders. And what I did is I put a piping on the top, on the bottom, on the sides, but 4 different color pipings, which I joined in the corner. Pre-purchased, piping, colored piping. I believe it was Wrights, W-R-I-G-H-T-S in this country, packaged piping that I joined, and I did video that. It's about a month and a half ago when I was making this. So I'm just going to put up those little excerpts of how I actually joined my piping together. The one, excuse the, there's a landscaper, not on our property, across the street. Excuse that noise outside. Weed whacking and lawn mowing. I think he's chainsawing something. Oh, whatever. So the next little bits of video that I show you is how I do this piping. It's how I join this piping. The one didn't work out really great, and I videoed it. The other corners worked out a little bit better, but you get the idea. So that's to come, and that's it. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm sewing today. A few other bits. We do have company coming on this coming Monday for 2 weeks. As you know, we're getting the house all ready for that. We've had a couple of our grandchildren come, as you know, and I know you like to see the grandchildren, but Hampton Rose, our number 9 son, Niles, came the other day. It was so sweet. Hampton Rose is 2 months old, and she was a tiny little peanut when she was born. At 2 months, she weighs 9 pounds 4 ounces, and it was so funny. I was holding her. All of my babies, and especially her father, were larger than her on their birthday. She's 2 months old. I'm holding this little baby. Felt comfortable in my arms, but she's 2 months old. That was when my babies were a day old. In fact, she's 9 pounds 4 ounces. Niles was 9'8". Maxwell was 10'4", Malia was 10'8". We have very big babies. It was funny. I'm holding this little baby. I'm thinking she's been around for a while, but she's smaller than our babies when they come out. She's so beautiful. That's Hampton Rose. And of course, Beckham is our son Francois, and his wife Brianne is a second little baby. And so I'll put some pictures up. But the cutest thing, I'm going to put a picture up. I'll tell you the little story. Our son Dominic and his wife Sarah have 4 children, as you know, Stryker, Cosette, Soleil, and Bjorn. And Cosette, who is 8, she wanted to have a little lemonade stand. So our son Dominic, he built her a lemonade stand. Oh my word, lemonade. He said, oh, the kid couldn't just have a fold-out table, right? So he built on the property that we used to live in, that was his, that got flooded, that he now lives in again. The almost 6 acres of woods and property. That's their home. What he did is he built this beautiful little lemonade stand for her, and that property is almost 6 acres, backs up to a sports field and a township park. Lovely, beautiful park. So I think if you went back, what would it be now, 4.5 years, when we used to live on that property before it was destroyed by a flood, Ian was cutting a path through the woods, way through the woods, winding back to a footpath, a public footpath. Well, because when the hurricane came and destroyed the property, and the winds, the trees, the property was ruined, and as you know, was vacant for almost 2 years before our son raised the house. And he has his business there now, and it's just fantastic. Beautiful garden and a chicken coop and everything, and he's building a pole barn and all sorts of things on the property. But he actually has cut through that path that we were back to the public path, and with his tractor and hauling Cosette's lemonade stand back to the footpath. But what he was doing, I thought, very entrepreneurial of him. All of our sons have their own businesses. He's teaching Cosette, who's 8, but who has a real sort of business acumen, on his own property. He's on his property, but bordering up to the public footpath, the lemonade stand. He's showing her how much things cost, how much the fruit costs, how much the mixers cost, the cups and everything, and per person, and how much fuel would be consumed, and his overheads for building the little thing. She has to write down, and if there's other fruit, because he had a little cooler, other fruit juices, the actual business end of the product that she was selling. I'm thinking the kid's 8 years old. leave it to our kids. But as I said, very entrepreneurial. So there was tons of traffic. See, but they're on their own property. They're on their own property, so it's not like you need a license or anything. She's on her own property, so I'll put some pictures up of her very advanced lemonade stand, right? So that was so sweet. So we had all of these lovely little children. Thanks again, folks, for all your suggestions and all of your compliments on my pretty quilt. I do like this quilt. It's very special. And thank you again for all your love for Maxwell and Ian. And I hope you have a blessed day. Love and true loves. Bye-bye. Now these are 16 12-inch squares. So it makes a square quilt. And I want it more rectangular. So what you can do, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I put on a smaller border on the side and then a wider border on the top. So it will make it a bit more rectangular. I'm going to be doing a piping between this border and between my outer border. All right, so when I go to put that on, you'll have just a little tiny bit right there, if you can see it, of red. But I didn't want to do the same color border, the same color piping all around. So what I've done is it's sort of, you're working sort of back to front and you're having to construct it as you go. I'm having a yellow on the top, or wherever, on one long side, and then I've attached my piping. The next one is red, so I have 4 different color piping on 4 different sides. I'm just finishing up putting my red piping on, and I have a pack of the green. All right, I want some green in the piping. So I'm taking out this piping, and again, this is just maxi piping, bias tape. This is 2.5 yards. I won't use all of that. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my seam ripper, and I'm just going to take out a few of these stitches, just a few of the stitches from the you see, come over this side. I'm just going to cut away that bit of piping. Can you see that? Inside. The bit of cording, I should say. So I have this opened edge there. Okay, now I'm having to get that ready so when I can attach it to my red foot on, of course, just going slowly. This is just slightly more than 1/4 inch down this side border. Needle down. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut this about 1/2 inch bigger. Don't need that. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing to this red piping here. And this end of this piping, that it will go around the corner, and I can have a red piping on one edge and green piping on the other. You just join the piping edges together. The cording is out of the way. Just make that nice and square. Bring the cording out of the way. A little bit fiddly. Again, I have a zipper foot on. I'm just stitching that. There's a little bit extra piping, cording. So when I turn that in, and I can sew that down on that corner. So I'm transitioning, all I'm doing is transitioning, needle down, from the red piping to the green piping. And it's one piping, as if we never, as if the colors were just the same. So I'll just come along here with my green piping, and then I'll show you that corner. And I'll do the exact same thing. So you sort of have to fiddle around with it, you know, by the time you get to the other end, to put the other color on. I think I have orange piping, needle down, and then this, when it's all pulled out, you have a transition from the red piping to the green piping. And again, when it's all nice and ironed, you have the yellow piping to the red, and then the red to the green. Hopefully you can see that. It'll make a nice transition, and then it'll be another color on the other side.